Okay, South Africans. I'm using this opportunity to take up challenge DJ's Buddha. I'll post a video once in a while. I know DJ's Buddha was suggesting that we post daily. I can do daily. I'll do once in a while. So look, I'm a lover of history, of South African history, and to an extent African history and history of the world. And then I like to see what role can generation Arona play, to get the so-called economic, emancipation in our own lifetime. And I thought, okay, so if, the founders of, say, ANC, when they set up, they were not looking to get human rights, like civil rights, that they were actually pursuing in economic emancipation. How would they have gone about it? All right. So, I also look at what you would use, to fight for emancipation. Like at this point in time. So I thought, okay, I mean, elders were petitioning the government. I mean, they'll go to England after the South African War, so-called the global war, to get some concessions, on like rights, human rights, and economic rights to be given to Africans, So we know what happened. That the British, decided that they're gonna let the African population or the Arab, to administer South Africa and let them deal with the Africans. All right, and we know how that turned out. So I'm thinking for like at this point in time, what do we do? And I've also had a lot of activists at the moment, some Bako parliament thingy, and they talking about Mandela sold out, about Kodesa, how it's so changed, they're South African. And then, I'm thinking about that, saying, okay, if it's so, then what? So the purpose of this particular video is to, in my own way, to figure out how we're going to take back the wealth of the country. as Black South Africans. So I wrote something here. It's a draft. I wrote something like this. It says apartheid dehumanized Black Africans in South Africa, and then the colonial, that is Britain, then usurp ownership rights of Africans, Black Africans of the land, airspace, sea, and minerals, from South Africans, African Black South Africans. And then the dispensation 94, what it did was that it humanized a Black African. And then it gave an African, a Black African human rights. That's all that it did. All right. That's my opinion. I stand to be corrected. Enough information to the contrary, comes forward, and invite those that will, check this video out to, give their views. All right. So now, if people say, we're so changed, Kikodesa, is that true? So this is what I want to say. Okay. My background is in law. I studied law at the University of Pretoria. I started with BProc, and then I think when I was third year of BProc, then I switched to LLB, and I completed LLB. That's in 2001. All right, and then I practiced as a lawyer for 12 years, practicing as a sole proprietor, and I was suspended and then struck from the role. Suspended in 2018 and struck from the role in 2019. And then, so when that happened, I was suspended. I thought I was dreaming. That's not possible, but it happened, and I spent the past couple of years, say 5 years, trying to figure out, to look at myself, like, yeah, man, what happened? What did you do? And what didn't you do? All right. And okay, fine. So I'm on my way, to get back and practice law. And in the past 5 years, I've been doing research. I try to study this and that, but I think at the moment I'm studying wealth management. So that I can understand, what the one. All right. So here's I give a little bit of my background. I want to look at how are we going to get the country back And then let me give shout out to Penwell, the Big Pen, and of the post that he put out on YouTube. Must be on the 30th of April 2023, where he was saying that hey man, the land was stolen, you were conquered. All right. So give me some valid points, and of course, the pen one, doesn't sugarcoat, what I mean. So yeah, so I thought today, man, let me also give my, you know, 2 million worth of opinion. And then I thought, okay, fine. So let's see. What is it that we have as Africans in South Africa? Like South Africans, what is that we have? We've got the numbers. We have the numbers. And we've got buying power. What are we buying? Okay. So I'm saying, let's participate in the economy as investors. This is like some old ideas that I had, yeah, from 2016. So I'm saying, when you go into let's say ShopRite or Checkers, or you go to Spar or Pick and Pay, and you buy your groceries there, also buy a share in ShopRite, and let's see how that turns out. And the way I see is that with our majority, you're going to end up having voting powers in the boards of these companies. Just strictly when you look at where we purchase. So you basically purchase a stock as you purchase a loaf of bread. You might as well even go and buy shares in Albany. You know what I mean? Or Blue Ribbon, and own the company or a share of the company. So I think if we go that way, we will, will will attain, economic freedom. Okay, fine. Let's take it further. Let's say Majida, right? We love soccer. I love soccer. And then we supporters of the clubs, Sundowns, Pirates, Chiefs. But then we also, set ourselves up, into a trust. And then we approach this team, say, hey man, listen, you want a stake in the club. You want 5% of Kaizer Chiefs. You know what I mean? Of Pirates, so basically what we'll be doing is that we are going to be corporate citizens of South Africa. We're going to institutionalize ourselves. And also I'm thinking that we've got this NGOs, NPOs, that target, that police the government, that's from what I'm hearing, that are ruling through the courts. And then I'm saying, the government has put up legislation that requires these companies, let's say white companies, to meet their BE's targets. And we need to set up NGOs, raise funds, and police this, this particular, white companies. And then I've also want to add on this topic of, also maybe, give my input on, what I've had Andile Ngidama, been putting out his videos, like giving like history lessons on past leaders. Most are like Pan-Africanist and they're Black consciousness leaders. And then it's insightful. And then I also realized that, hey man, this African organization, they played forward. Look at Outer, boycotting, toll gates in Joburg, by refusing to pay. Which African leader, a Black South African leader, was imprisoned indefinitely for applying the principle of non-participation? They're just followers of Robert Sobukwe out. So yeah, man, that's my contribution. And then like I'm saying, giving a special shout out to DJ's Buddha. Give a shout out to Penwell, the Black Pen, and give shout out to McG, Sol, Michida, and give shout out to Andile Ngidama, and then and leave this message to graduates. South Africa is ours. Black South Africans. We are the majority, is ours. All right, and then Mandela, Govan Mbeki, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, Steve Biko, Robert Sobukwe, Chief Alberto Tulu, who I'm like following now, reading his book. Let me check. Yeah. Let my people go. Right? Yeah, and then you know, President Dube, we named them, that this individual that I've mentioned and many more, they left us an inheritance, and it's for us graduates to ideate, to accept the inheritance and claim it. We've got to figure it out. Yeah. Peace.